Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I know, I missed you. You've been gone so long. It's been like 6 minutes since I've seen you. My next guest, David Hamilton from America's Future Series. He's our foreign policy analyst. And David, let's just jump right into it. This idea that was floated by Trump of, hey, maybe we should just take over Gaza and rebuild it and stuff. I'm interested at the criticism of this, that's saying that, well, this is impossible or it could never happen. Well, it could happen if we really, really wanted it to, but I don't know if we really, really want to, but it's not impossible, is it?
Well, I think I'm going to reserve judgment a little bit until I fully understand what the term take over Gaza means exactly. I think we all agree that it is largely destroyed. It is a hellscape right now, and it does still have remnants of Hamas there and others. And that region, that part, that small part of the area has to be cleansed. The folks that are still perpetrating crimes, they're living in tunnels. There are a lot of mines. There's a lot of IEDs that have to get removed. That's going to take a lot of work. And I think what this really signals is simply a change in attitude or loyalties. We did not support Israel very much after they were brutally attacked on October 7th. There is no way that America is ever going to be friendly. When we say that Israel is our biggest ally, they're our only ally. The vast majority of the Muslim countries there want to see America destroyed. The Abraham Accords was an exception where Trump was able to broker a deal between Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Israel, which was unprecedented. There are a few countries that we can work with, but Israel is our only ally, and this just signals that we're willing to support them in a way that we weren't willing to before.
Do you think, or do you foresee some of the other Muslim countries in the area jumping in and saying, no. How about we rebuild it? Because we'd rather us take care of it than see any more infidels on Muslim soil.
Not going to happen at all because they've had an opportunity. Egypt forcefully said no to letting any of the refugees leave through the southern border. They could have helped those people, taken them in. They could have escaped, but they said, we don't want that problem. We don't want that security risk, was the actual quote. And they allowed tens of thousands to die because they were unwilling to let their Arab brothers come into their country. So no one, the Palestinians have always been the redheaded stepchild in the region. No other Muslim country has been willing to accept them. They don't want them.
Do they not like them, or do they just prefer for Israel to have like a Lex Luthor next to them?
Yeah, they view them as potential martyrs. They think, and actually Hamas thinks that way about its own people. They are much more willing to see those people martyred and die for the cause in order to make Israel out to be a monster than to take any of them in. That's alien thinking. You can't think that way. That's not how you or I think. But we just have to recognize that is the way the Muslim world views Palestine.
So you know what I've done before, David Hamilton? You go on Google Maps. I'm doing it right now just to make sure this is still the case and I don't sound stupid. But right across the Egyptian border from the Gaza Strip, there are all kinds of roads and like neighborhoods that are laid out, but all the houses are gone and have been cleared off. Did they used to have some sort of city that Rafah spilled over into and they purposefully cleared it out?
There are 2 million people living in a very small postage stamp size area. Mm-hmm. And so, that was heavily developed. Now, it wasn't developed during 1948 when Israel was created. But Israel, most of the people, the Palestinians, there were 800,000 pre-1948. That has grown to several million inside Israel and around it, like Gaza, the West Bank. Those people came there because a stable democracy was created and jobs and industry were created. Desalinization was put there. That is a barren, hard scrabble piece of property that none of us want to live in unless it is developed. And they came after Israel was created in 1948, 2/3 of them, really. So that has been largely destroyed, which is really sad. These people need a place to go, and if anyone should take them in, absolutely. The Egyptians and the other countries around that area, the Jordanians, they should be helping those people rebuild, but they have no interest.
Maybe we can keep them in Greenland?
There's plenty of room. They might be a little cold, but there's plenty of room up there. We do need to do something to make that area stable. Those areas were taken after Israel was attacked twice by the majority of Muslim countries in the Middle East. and they have used it as a buffer to protect themselves. Well, they got a little lax, and they let people like Hamas take it over and build up infrastructure and a network of tunnels and use it as a launching base to attack Israel. I don't think they'll ever do that again.
All right, I'm going to switch gears here on you. This is David Hamilton from America's Future Series, our foreign policy analyst. What have we learned about the strange web of connections with Ukraine from the USAID files?
Well, you've had me on, and I've been on some of the other stations around here saying the same thing. There has been a reluctance to talk seriously about a negotiated withdrawal, some sort of peace. You may recall that the war started in large part because Harris and others, Blinken and the Biden administration, were encouraging Ukraine to join NATO, and that was a direct threat to the Russian national security. We walked away from peace talks multiple times leading up to the war. Since that time, there are a lot of people making money and a lot of aid being sent there. We don't know where all it's going, and we can't really track it. So there has been no interest in ending that war prior to this administration. So the one thing I'd love to see happen is a serious deal being made where the Ukrainians are going to have to give up something, which was largely not joining NATO, and Russia has to get out of Ukraine. I think we have a chance to make that happen because we have people who don't care about how much money is being made.
All right. Next events you guys have coming up with America's Future Series.
We're at the dual use. We have our dual use technology summit in Austin during South by Southwest at Austin Community College. Joe Lonsdale of Palantir and 8DC is being honored with a AI award. General Murray, who stood up the Army Futures Command, is being honored by Secretary Lord, a former Deputy Secretary of Acquisitions. Great group of people who care about putting capabilities in the hands of the warfighter faster and getting the public and private sectors to work together.
All right. Next event in Dallas, is this the April 22nd event at the Hilton Anatole?
No, the next one that I would like people to focus on is May 8th. It's at Circle T Ranch in partnership with Hillwood, with UNT, with the National Security and Economic Security Center, Strategy Center that's being stood up at UNT. That's on our website now. People can go check it. It's at the beautiful Circle T Ranch. And Ross Perot and a whole host of other folks are going to be there, hopefully along with the Governor Abbott being honored that evening.
All right, fantastic. David Hamilton, America's Future Series. Appreciate your insight on the James Show yet again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yep, find him online, America's Future Series. That guy's name is David Hamilton. Regular listeners, you already know him. If you're new to the show, you'll get to know him. Coming up next, I want to put in my couple of quarters here on this talk about the planes colliding. You know, there were two planes that bumped into each other. They were on the ground in Seattle. No one hurt, no one injured, no one died. But a lot of people are saying it's time to take a serious look at what's going on in air traffic control towers. I'm going to ask you, do you think this is a DEI thing? Because I don't think I do. I think I have a better diagnosis and therefore a different solution. And I'll tell you what that is next. But what do you think's going on with air traffic controls? Do you think this is DEI? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. My name is James Parker. Will you be my friend? I need some new friends. Why? Here's a news flash. My friends suck. Do you know that? Let me tell you something. So yesterday, if you were listening to the James Show, I kicked it off with the segment where I was talking about the idea of us taking over Gaza, and I said, you know what they need? They need a Buc-ee's, and they probably need $284 Dollar Generals, and then after all the bombs, they're going to probably need an IKEA and a Home Depot. And you and I, we both, I know this is all tongue-in-cheek, and this is a serious situation. You're just having a little fun with it. And then I have like a group chat going on, and a couple of my friends on the break, one of them sent like a meme that showed Buc-ee's in the Gaza Strip, and they're like, we should build a Buc-ee's there, I was like, is she copying my joke from yesterday? Or, oh, no, she doesn't listen to my show. My other friend said, well, they need like a whole bunch of Family Dollars. I was like, you mean $284 Dollar Generals? And they're like, oh, God, that's hilarious. You should do this on your show. I'm like, I did it yesterday. Thanks for listening, friends. You would think that if you had a friend that had a talk show in the middle of the afternoon on the biggest talk station in Texas, and you're just a housewife without a job, you might listen, but what do I know? So I need some new friends. Taking applications. You gonna be my friend? All right, so let's look at this air traffic control deal. Because we had yesterday a couple planes bumped into each other, and you may think, well, no one died, no one was hurt, it's not really that big of a deal. Well, it's starting to be a big deal when you have 3 of these incidents in a week, and you usually don't hear about them, but like years and years apart. 3 of them in rapid succession is cause for concern, even if they are minor incidents, and 2 of them were not. 2 of them were planes full of people dying. One of them included the helicopter. And remember, I know it feels like a month ago because of all that's happened in the news, but that helicopter crash into the plane, that was just a week ago yesterday. So in that 7, if you want to stretch it, call it an 8-day span, 3 incidents, let's take an evaluation of what's going on with air traffic control. Now, in today's heated political environment, anything that has to do with questioning the merit of something that's a government agency is necessarily going to, online, looks like the battle scene from Braveheart. This is the comment section under every one of these discussions. I'm going to come out here and try and tell you you're both wrong. Team Red and Team Blue. This is one of the reasons where Team Gold is just distinctly different enough that's the reason why I don't register with either of the major parties is for instances like this. Because one of them has the system set up the way they want. Team Blue. Team Red wants to change it. They want to get rid of the DEI and some of the other things. Team Gold over here says, I don't think the problem's DEI at all. I think the problem is that our air traffic controls are government agencies, and that the solution there isn't to get rid of DEI specifically, it's to privatize the air traffic control system. Now, for some reason, that sounds like a fringy libertarian pipe dream. But when you look at the across the globe here, for the air traffic control systems, 62 of them worldwide are privatized. They have a situation that's similar to the Canadian system. The Canadians have a better air traffic control system than we do. The Canadians have a privatized nonprofit that runs, and it goes on user fees and not through tax dollars. They have wide latitude to make changes however they see fit. They're not reliant on their Congress, or I guess Parliament, for their funding, which means like here, if we have a government shutdown or if we have some other interruption to government services, that kind of rocks our air traffic control system. But really, it's you have the DMV up there controlling our planes. I don't know what the DMV looks like now, but I remember the last time I actually got to go into a DMV and look at the computer. It was like 2013 or something. I reached my head over and I looked at the screen, and they were running a DOS program. I kid you not. It was all text with the big blinky rectangle for your cursor. And it had like some crudely drawn lines, and it was monochromatic, means it was black in the background and just green, one color text. That's what they were running in 2013. I don't know if they're probably run off a speak and spell now. But when you see that several providers serve more than one country, 83 countries get their air traffic control from privatized towers. And so when you say, well, I don't know, what would that even look like? That wouldn't work. Let's just do what Canada does. They don't have the scale that we do. They take about 1/9 of the traffic that we do. But in that, even without their economies of scale, we should have the advantage on being able to do it cheaper per flight. Their costs per flight, 1/3 lower than ours. So what do we do about it? Privatize it. That's all. Let it work itself out. Maybe we have a couple of different corporations that privatize different parts of the air traffic control, and we have them compete and see which one's best. It'll be like Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile. And yeah, let's not focus on the DEI. If you get the DEI thrown out and it still remains a government program, you're not going to get the efficiencies and improvements you're looking for. You're not going to let it reach its full potential. So when we merge with Canada, let's just go ahead and take their air traffic control system. I know. I see it over there. I know. Canadians love it when I say that, don't you? I know. Air traffic control them birds for you. Am I crazy? Should we do what Canada does and privatize our air traffic control system? I think this is a no-brainer. I think it's the same thing with the TSA. Let's do that next. The TSA didn't exist until after 9/11. Since then, they've caught exactly 0 terrorists, the exact charge, which was the reason for their invention. And I think we can just let the airports handle their own security. Let the airlines handle their own security. They have a little bit on the line, too. They don't want their planes to crash. They don't want their pilots to die. That's not a profitable endeavor for them. So let's keep our eye on the prize here. The point is to minimize government as much as possible. Getting rid of DEI is not going to do that. Privatize will do that. Coming up next, we're going to talk to the patent professor. There's a weird case involving the Proud Boys and a trademark to a black church, and we'll ask him about it for details. It sounds weird. I don't know what's going on here, but we'll try to get to the bottom of it next on the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, sports fans, James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. We just have a few days left for the big game. So, you can go ahead and make your lineup now and take the free square. I mean, it's not a free square. I guess technically speaking, mathematically speaking, it's not a free square. There is a chance that Patrick Mahomes could throw for 0 yards or I guess technically negative yardage. If you play enough Madden, that'll happen. But they have the promotional pick. The one square for Patrick Mahomes for the big game is 0.5 passing yards. Just pick more on that. And if he throws for 1 or more yards, if he throws for 400 yards, you get that one square. And then your lineup is 2 to 6 players. So all you have to do is be correct on one other prediction. And you can win some real money from my friends at Prize Picks. Look at the line on Saquon Barkley or Jalen Hurts or Travis Kelce or Xavier Worthy. And then as soon as the big game's done, it's all about basketball. It's all about hockey. There's still plenty more to go. And we are almost to spring training for you baseball fans. So the fun never ends with Prize Picks. Download it. Use promo code WBAP. Get $50 worth your first $5 play. What's that? You're going to give me $50? Yes. Download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code WBAP with your first $5 play. You'll get $50 in promo cash to have a little extra fun with the big game coming up this Sunday. Prize Picks. Run your game. Hey, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Oh, I'm looking for friends even harder now. I just ranted about them in the last segment. The update I have for you is, fine, I'll listen. Send me a link. Send you a link? Been in radio for 20 years. You don't know how to listen to my show? You're my friend. Okay, forget it. I bet you the patent professor's probably a better friend. John Risby, welcome back to the James Show.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm not having a very pleasurable day today, but this story kind of cracks me up. All right, let me see if I have this correct, because I find this, I feel like I'm missing something here, but maybe I'm not. John Risby, the Proud Boys, some of them were at January 6th, and they hopped the fence of a church nearby the Capitol, and they destroyed a Black Lives Matter sign, and then they hopped back over the fence, and they continued on about their merry way. They were charged with crimes, and then there was a civil suit where they were supposed to pay like $4 million or whatever, some impossible number, in damages and restitution, or sounds punitive to me, to the church. They never paid it, and so the church said, in lieu of them, compensating you with cash, you now can control the copyright to their logo. Do I have this correct?
Yeah, actually, the trademark to their logo, but it is a bizarre set of facts, because typically trademark rights can be lost, and there's a lot of reasons why you can lose a trademark, but it's rare that a court will take a trademark from one party that rightfully owns the mark and actually transfer it to somebody else. And that's exactly what this opinion did. It transferred the trademark to the Proud Boys from them owning it to the black church that they vandalized. So it was transferred to the AME Church in Washington, D.C. So now the AME Church in Washington, D.C. owns the Proud Boys trademark.
So are they expected to monetize that to get the $4 million that they're owed? Are they going to start selling Proud Boys T-shirts and stuff?
So that's what makes this case so strange. Trademarks are an asset, right? They're an asset of any business, no different than a vehicle or a car. However, when you sell your car to somebody, the buyer has no duty to drive it. They don't lose the car if they're not driving it. There's no duty to use it. What makes this such an unusual case is not only did the trademark get transferred to this church, but if the church doesn't do anything with using the Proud Boys name, if they don't sell merchandise or conduct commerce using the name of who they alleged vandalized, who vandalized them. So they're almost forced, in order to keep their trademark, they have to use the name the Proud Boys. And that's just a bizarre set of facts that trademark attorneys like myself, and we're trying to get our mind around. Like, how is it possible that you can forcefully transfer the trademark rights from one party to another, and that's fine. It's an asset. And normally, the asset but trademark law is different. You have to use it or lose it. So now there's a duty on this church to actually use the name of the group that vandalized them, which is not what they wanted. They wanted
this sounds wild. $8 million. All right, John, is there a precedence for this? Do we have a case law precedence for this?
Well, there's plenty of case law precedents for trademarks being assets that are transferred, no different than any other asset. But I've not been able to find any precedent for transfer in a situation such as this, where you're actually obtaining the right to use the name of the party that aggrieved you. I mean, so you could, it's crazy.
So how long if they're dormant on it, can the Proud Boys get it back?
Yeah, so there's an assumption of 3 years. So and it's not that the Proud Boys would get it back. It would just become an abandoned trademark, and it's open for anybody to register and use. And supposedly the Proud Boys could file and have superior rights to it, but that would be for non-use for 3 years. And the trademark could be considered abandoned by this black church, by the AME church, if they don't use it. So in the meantime, they have to, I don't understand, sell merchandise that has Proud Boys trademark on it. So they're promoting the group.
They could say, I hate the Proud Boys, and maybe try and sell that shirt. But who the heck would buy it? All they have to do is use it, list it. They don't even have to sell any shirts, do they?
Well, trademark rights are for use in commerce, so they have to use it they have to conduct business using it.
Okay, next question. Can't the Proud Boys just come up with another logo and abandon this one?
They can, but they cannot use the Proud Boys because they no longer own rights to it.
They can't even use that term.
They can't use that term to sell merchandise, because trademarks are all about commerce. This
seems like a pretty hefty punishment for busting up one sign.
It's a judgment. You said $4 million. Maybe that's with interest, and who knows what else is $2.8 million. But either way, it's a significant judgment. I don't know. I haven't looked into whether a portion of it is punitive, because certainly the damages.
It would have to be. That's not it's not a $2 million sign. All right. Well, thanks for spelling some of this out, John Rizvi. I was super confused about that, and I'm only less confused now. All right.
Well, you're in good company. Plenty of intellectual property attorneys are looking at this case, trying to figure out what it means for future cases.
It is funny, though. Where do they find your work outside of WBAP, John?
Yeah, so our trademark is The Patent Professor. So you type that in. That's our domain name online, anywhere on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. The Patent Professor is our handle.
Good deal. All right. Well, John Rizvi, don't go busting up signs so you can keep that trademark. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
But right now, let's go to the phones. Robin in Corinth, you're on WBAP. What do you think, Robin?
Hi, James. I have yet to purchase a T-shirt to support any cause throughout all of what has been going on for years in America. And this has moved me, and I thought that church should take the Proud Boys trademark, turn it upside down, kind of how Oklahoma does with the UT hand sign, turn it upside down, and then put a black fist on top of it to where the trademark is upside down below the fist. I'd buy that T-shirt.
Well, that was something I threw out there. If you don't like the Proud Boys and you now have access to their trademark, you could make anti-Proud Boys merch with using their actual logo.
Yeah.
And what a rare opportunity that is to have the trademark on your political opponents or whoever vandalized you.
Yeah. Turn it upside down.
See,
I love it.
I like how we can put politics aside and think like a pure, just capitalist pig for a second. I'm the same way. Yeah. We can score some money off that. That's a good field goal. Give her 3 points, Garrett. I'm glad you asked. Robin, we just got you 3 points on the board.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Love your show.
Do you even know about the Proud Boys? Do you know what they stand for or who they are or whatever?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
What's your impression of them? What do you think they stand for?
the militant nature of the group is very off-putting. I'm not in favor of them personally. They don't sit well in my core.
I mean, like, what beliefs do they have that you agree or disagree with?
Well, the anti-black, not being so militantly against anything that is not, white, and I don't favor that.
I think you might have a misconception. So there's a lot of people who say like they're racist or white supremacists. They're not. Their leader's Enrique Tarrio. He probably wouldn't be welcome in most like white supremacist circles. I have some like policy disagreements with them, but I've found a lot of people who dislike them for things that just aren't true. And I'm not saying that, Robin, you've been misinformed, but to go ahead and do a deep dive in them. You probably still won't like them, but at least you'll know why you really don't like them instead of someone else told you that they're racist and they're not. Like, a lot of the stuff that they have politically in their platform, I agree with. They're generally capitalist. They're generally nationalist, like pro-American.
Yeah.
They like to.
And I like that about them.
Right.
I like that about them. That's what makes me so conflicted over this whole situation.
Well, I'm not conflicted if they went and busted up a sign. That they're jerks. They deserve to be punished. I think the punishment might be a little extreme, but don't really care too bad about that. They just have some weird beliefs. Like they're not into. What do you call it? Like, what was Pee Wee Herman doing in that theater when he got in trouble? Yeah. They're against that, and it's like I don't want my political organization to even have an opinion either way on what I do.
Where our politics should belong,
right? On what I do with myself or what Robin does with herself or whatever. It's just like I don't have any sexual planks in my political platform. Y'all are weird. And by the way, I'm not signing on to that either. There's no way I could live up to your standards at this point. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Americans are carrying a record amount of credit card debt. It's well north of $1 trillion right now. A big chunk of that's me. Some of it might be you. However, if you're one of the few people listening to the James Show right now that is in no credit card debt, keep your mouth shut. We don't want to hear from you. Isn't your life just perfect? For the rest of us, though, we gotta fight our way out of this hole. Janice Spooner's going to help us out with that. She's an expert on credit and lending. Welcome back to the James Show, Janice. And where do you start with someone like me? I'll just bleed in front of everybody. I have about $20,000 on credit cards right now. Give me some advice.
First step is you have to identify what those rates are on those cards, see how significant they are, and come to the realization that you have to take a step now to create a difference for your future.
Right. Some of this is expenses that popped up and we didn't have like an emergency fund. Like we had an emergency fund for a while, but we blew through that. And so we had a kid with some medical bills. We had me with some dental bills, and we just had to put it on a credit card. I don't know if we could have even avoided it. You're
in what I would call a normal range of credit card usage, because you went through your emergency fund, and people live on credit cards. A lot of people do. But there's a clear difference between letting those balances continue to add up by only paying the minimum payment due versus using credit cards and paying those off monthly. Two different products, two different plans, but the first one of relying on your credit card and letting those build can be catastrophic if let loose for too long.
Yeah, well, under normal circumstances, we've stopped the bleeding. We live below our means, and we're slowly paying it off right now. But like I said, like right now, while we're in the payoff mode, if another emergency pops up, we're going to have to put it on the credit card. We're not keeping an emergency fund. We're trying to pay this guy off. So it really feels like another emergency pops up can just put us deeper in the hole.
I would take your credit card, see what those rates are, and see if you can't find a lower interest rate and do one method. It's called the balance transfer of cards. See if you can find a lower introductory period for 9-12 months, swing that over on your high interest rate to that lower number, and then start building up an emergency savings. Because with credit card interest rates being between 25 and 30%, you're not going to get out of that without significant stress and strain, and dedication to get out of that high of an interest rate.
Janice Spooner, do you have a strong opinion on some of these services that'll help you get out of debt? I think of one that used to be recommended on this financial show called Zilch Works, and you put in all your debts, not just your credit card, but your car note and your mortgage, and it'll line them up and have you make the payments in the way that would get it paid off the fastest. Do you recommend those to people who are asking you about it?
I personally take the time to go with them and walk through what their credit looks like on loans, on credit cards, and see if there's a way that we can create maybe an avalanche method to debt consolidation, to debt snowball method. And the snowball is focusing on the smallest balance first while making the minimum payments on other cards. This can build momentum and build, relief mentally. But I really tell people that they need to it's real simple. Take the first step and look at your budget.
So debt snowball is a term I heard a lot from Dave Ramsey. Is that what we're talking about, that method?
Yeah, where you're really focusing on the smallest balance first while paying the minimum on other cards. The avalanche method is paying off the card with the highest interest rate first to save on interest. Mm-hmm. And you can work and look at all the ones that you have. Depending on your credit score, there are still some options out there for a transfer, but you have to stay on top of that because when those introductory rates end, you could be back in the same boat. So it takes constant review and analyzing it. But back to your question on where do I refer, there's the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. It is the oldest and most recognized nonprofit credit counseling network in the U.S., and it's free or low-cost credit counseling, debt management plans. And so it's real people helping with real solutions. Janice Spooner, how much credit card debt do you have right now? I actually only have about $2,000. Oh, my goodness. What a dream. I pay off every month what I put on there, and it helps your credit score be high, and it saves you on other costs that do check your credit score, like mortgage. I would like to point out that I never ran up giant credit card balances till after I had 4 kids. So that's my excuse. Thank you very much, Janice. How do they find your work outside of WBAP? Absolutely. Great Plains Bank Southlake is where I'm at www.greatplainsbanktx.com. Janice Spooner, 817-912-3444. There you go. Thank you, Janice Spooner. Great Plains Bank Southlake. Oh, I only have one segment left. All right. Coming up next, there's a couple of fun sound bites that we're going to make fun of, and I got to answer a couple emails on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there. Welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We have a couple of events coming up toward the end of the month. For one, our sister station, KLIF, has Brian Kilmeade making another visit. He got added to the station last year. Did an event where he showed up, and you know who? Wasn't Daryl Johnston there? The cowboy? Wasn't Moose there? And is that what I'm thinking of, or was that another event? Where you didn't go, did you, Garrett? Oh, I think it was Daryl Johnston there. And that was really cool. And Brian Kilmeade's coming back. We really packed out the place that we were at in Irving last time, so we're going to go to Community Beer this time. CommunityBeer.com if you want to look at their website. Much bigger place, but you know what? If y'all are going to show up that big and bring a big crowd for him, we'll find a bigger place this time. He's going to be there February 26th, so stick around. I'll give you a couple of reminders, obviously, on the James Show before we get up to that, because it's not just a chance for you to meet Brian Kilmeade. It's also for you a chance to meet me, and I'm going to try. Garrett, are you going to go to this one, or you have a life, like a social life and everything? Oh, don't say, of course you'll go. You didn't go to the last one, so we can't make that assumption. And then the next day, this isn't a station event or an event for our sister station or anything associated to do with my work, but for a guest I had on yesterday, Sarah Gonzalez. She's with the Blaze now and also Texas Scorecard. She's going to be co-hosting an event with Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. I know you know that name. And he's the president of the Dallas County chapter of the GOP right now, but they're having an event where you can meet your candidates. So for some local elections that are coming up, just really months away,
It's something that they don't get a lot of media attention for. And so if you want to go meet these guys and shake their hand and look them in the eye and ask them some questions, they're having an event just for that. So the Dallas County Republicans are inviting you out for that. That's going to happen. I don't know what place in there, but it's at that shopping center. It's like 5100 Beltline, but Beltline and the Tollway, like where the Sherlocks used to be. I used to work there. I used to live in those apartments behind there. But like that little thing that's boxed in by Montfort Beltline and the Tollway that has a whole bunch of restaurants and whatnot in it. There's like a Pluckers in there and I don't know, something else, Whole Foods or something. Anyway, that's where it's going to be. And don't worry, I'll give you some updates before that. And in fact, I bet you we have Alan West on and maybe even Sarah Gonzalez on before that to sort of promote it. So we're going to be out and about a couple more times this month. Just give us a couple weeks and come out and say hi. I love meeting you people. All right, one of the sound bites barrages here I can squeeze in before the end of the show. Carolyn Leavitt, the White House spokeswoman, doing her press conference yesterday, was asked about Doge and USAID and how much of this money is going to Politico. And for a lot of people, this was something that was suspected. Now it's just confirmed, and it really has some big implications.
Now it looks like there are a couple media outlets that have been dragged into this conversation as far as USAID funding as well. Does the president have any comment on that?
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
Oh, I love hearing this. Get them. Get them. You mean they're taking taxpayer dollars from you, giving it to outlets who oppose you to spread messages to thwart you and to cancel out your vote? Politico, did y'all get the Hunter Biden laptop story right or wrong? Did y'all get the Inflation Reduction Act predictions right or wrong? Did y'all get any of these other? What did y'all say about Jussie Smollett? How dedicated are you guys to Team Blue? And go ahead and make the connection here. The other big media headline right now is 60 Minutes. CBS was leaned on to release the unedited transcript and video from the Kamala Harris interview, and it's just what you thought. They totally re-edited it to make it sound like it wasn't as bad as it was. That's fraud. That's absolute fraud. You cannot call yourself a news outlet and then deliberately present something that wasn't true as something that is true without telling it, oh, this was selectively edited or whatnot. That's fraud. So what happens when you have all these outlets? I don't know if CBS was getting news or whatever, but they're definitely dedicated to Team Blue. You have these other upstart outlets, Politico. They didn't even exist 20 years ago. Now they're huge. Why? Well, $8 million of your tax dollars went to them. And there's an interesting case for all these outlets that get your money. They all sing the song of big government, right? They're all singing the same tune. We need to grow government. We definitely don't need to cut it. We need to vote for Team Blue, or at least the people on Team Red who are okay with growing government. And it's not an accident. You know the old he who pays the piper calls the tune, right? Well, if big government is paying you, you're going to sing the praises of big government. But so much of this media that's on board, naturally, the ones that are paid off, they're all singing the same tune. Yet you saw through all of that. You saw through the paid off people, whether it's in the celebrity realm or Hollywood or music or Politico, and you still saw through it all and you voted for Team Red. You didn't buy into the lies, the propaganda. They've spent hundreds of billions of dollars to propagandize you, and it didn't work. Give yourself a round of applause. All right, here, I'll give you a round of applause. It's just been a big old machine to try and make the low information voter think that this is what everyone else agrees with. You should vote with us. Turns out that they're a pretty minuscule minority out there. You're a lot stronger than you thought. Thanks for hanging out with the James Show today. Stick around. Coming up next, Mark Levin. In the meantime, if you need more James Show action, find the podcast wherever you're already listening to podcasts. It doesn't have to be the WBAP app. I mean, I prefer, but if you go to other apps that you already listen to podcasts, type in the James Show. Like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Learn it, love it, live it. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.